Hello YouTube, getting ready to start the next project. My 2021 cemetery display, I had one of those infinity boxes or shadow boxes, and I had someone leave me a comment asking me if I could show how I made that. Well, unfortunately I got rid of the original one, but I'm getting ready to do another cemetery display. I kind of decided I wanted another one anyways, so I'm making this step-by-step tutorial video of how I made this particular shadow box and what it's going to look like when it's done. So I hope you stick around for the whole video, and let's get started. Like with all my projects, I always start with some kind of sketch, some kind of drawing. I know I've shown that in quite a few of my videos before. It's a way for me to kind of get a mindset of essentially what direction I want to go with it. Not to mention it gives me size, proportions, also essentially a material list. Now I don't have the original no more, so I don't remember how wide I made it. I'm just going to make this one 30 inches wide. You know, my viewing area essentially, but I remember making it 2 feet, and I remember having to experiment a few times and found out that the 2 feet deep was perfect for this particular kind of prop that I made for this one. And then I have my little kind of my 3D kind of image right here that kind of shows how I'm going to do all the wood with the mirror in the back, you know, essentially my projection and all that kind of stuff, plus also my material list. Now, the one thing I will not be building in this video is the decorative face or decorative front piece, because I haven't decided where I want to place it in my display this year. I don't know if I'm going to have it as a standalone feature like it was in 21, or if I'm going to have it incorporated into another aspect of the cemetery, so only time will tell. But I just want to get the actual box and everything made and get it ready so I can start to figure out where I want to place that. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be anchoring them, the 2 foot pieces this way, and obviously you only have a screw so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a step bit, and I'm going to go into here probably about an inch or so. So this way I make the hole big enough so I can run the screw all the way through, and this way I can make sure I can actually grab into the other piece of lumber. Alright, I got the main structure put together. I tried to find the straightest pieces of wood I could. They weren't super straight. As you can see earlier in the video I was screwing them together, they kind of had a little bit of like a little, you know, warp teeter-totter thing to it. So what I did is I just cut some 45-degree corners out of some scrap 2x4s. So this way I can square up the bottom. And I put some straight across the whole top to square up the top. It's still just a pinch kind of lopsided, but not really enough to be an issue. So I'm going to continue moving forward with it. I got the plywood right here. That's going to be for my sides, so I'm going to go ahead and get that cut and get that installed in there. Okay, next step, I'm gonna cut my mirror. Now, you don't have to do this yourself. You can go to any glass company, give them the size you need, and they'll cut a mirror for you. I just happen to have this, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it myself. Now, a lot of people get the kind of term mixed up. You're not really cutting the glass. For anybody that's never really done anything with glass before, you're not cutting the glass. You're realistically just kind of creating like a controlled scratch or controlled imperfection, and you're snapping the glass. You're actually breaking it in half is really what you're doing. So there's a couple different kind of cutters. I prefer these kind. They have like an oil that you put in here. I still lubricate my wheel with some kind of lubricant, WD-40, silicone spray, car antifreeze, you know, anything like that that creates like a little bit of like a surface between this wheel and that glass. Because the more the more oil or cutting, some kind of cutting oil you put on there, the better your chance of making it run properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut it to length this way first, and then I gotta cut it long ways next. Now, hopefully, this runs like it's supposed to, and I don't mess up this mirror. And that's all there is to it. Alright, to describe what I'm doing back here, this is the side the mirror is going to go on. I've made a mark 3/4 of an inch down so the mirror sits down 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to put this board on here first. Let me go ahead and get a screw. Set it on my line because I want it to be 3/4 of an inch down. What I'm going to do is, because that mirror is only 1/4 of an inch thick, this piece is going to go on just like this. And what that's going to do is when I go to use it, the mirror will slide right down inside this channel. This will keep it from the mirror from falling out, and the mirror will be right up against the framing right there. And that's what I did to hold that mirror in place, and then have some pins that I'll put on the top. All right, we're to this point right here. I got the mirror installed. Now you saw how I did the bottom, I guess you can say, holder for the mirror. Now the mirror just sits down. It's that little, trough right there. That's what's going to keep the mirror from falling out of the bottom. The top is just these little clips I made. It's just a heavy-duty wire. I just made kind of like a just a little J-hook kind of deal. You see why I carved the wood out, have a hole straight down, and then the hole, elongated here. So what I do is, once I put the mirror on, I just put that on, and that's it. And the reason I do that is because, one, while I'm moving this around, transporting it, carrying it out front, I really don't want the mirror in it. One, it makes it heavier. Two, I don't want to take the chance of breaking the mirror while I'm carrying it. It also makes it to where I can access the interior, because after I get the thing all done, the piece that goes on the front, the Lexan that's going to have the window film on it, that's going to have the other half of essentially the two-way mirror, that's going to be screwed to the front. Plus I'll have my front covering on there, so I'm not going to be able to gain access to the prop from the front side, only from the back side. So that allows me to literally just push the clips up, pull the mirror out of the way, set off the side, do what I need to do, put the mirror back on, done deal. It makes it easy, quick, simple to access the interior. But I'm going to go ahead and start working on making the plaques, the candle holders, start getting things painted, and then I will start with the getting the Lexan ready, and we'll keep on trucking along. All right, I'm getting started on the plaques. I already got 2 of them put in the box. The reason for the ratchet strap on there is the thing is still just a little bit tweaked, and it's a little bit too far for me. It's not letting my mirror sit nice and flat like I want to, so I'm kind of re-racking it the opposite direction. I'm gonna let it sit like that for a couple days. I might even let it sit outside and let the moisture in the air overnight maybe help it along a little bit. But I got a couple of the plaques already in place. All I'm using for that is a 1/2 inch foam board. I cut them into pieces 12 inches by 12 inches. You can see I made a bunch of marks on the outside of about how high I want each one of them to be. And then you see I have one long line and then a little short line right here. All that's doing is that's just making sure that I'm completely straight this way. So when I get my illusion, you don't see like this kind of pitch like that. And this line right, this whole mark right here is just making sure my spacing is the same from here to here. So when the image goes, you don't see one that looks like maybe it's a little closer than the other. You know, you'll have that even spacing illusion all the way down. The candle holder, all I just did is I picked up just a black, simple, shelf hanger, piece of 2-inch PVC, cap. This will be screwed to the right through the cap into there on that. I'll paint that all black. And then once this is all painted gray, then I will go ahead and hang the candle holders right here. I'm making it to where the cap is going to sit just even with the bottom of the plaque here. So the candle is actually sitting up higher than the actual, within the plaque. So like if I had to go right here for a reference, the candle will be sitting kind of like right in this area. So when it glows, it kind of glows on the plaque itself. I'm also going to run my caulk gun around here and make like almost like a beveled edge. So it actually looks more like, like a plaque you'd see, not just some piece of block sitting on there. It'll have a little bit of a profile to it. So I got to run that around that and everything like that. And then everything, when it's all dry, it'll all get painted. Then I'll start doing the assembly. And then I'll be working on the front piece after that. All right, everything's dry. I'm getting ready to paint. I'm pretty sure you all see that fancy piece of wood in the back there. Even with having the ratchet strap on there, overnight and everything like that, trying to re-rack it a little bit, it just doesn't want to hold. Even after caulking the wood in place and putting extra beads on here, it just won't stay square. I probably shouldn't have cut the corners and did the 2x3s. I probably should have just done my 2x4s, but I guess lesson learned. But you're not going to see this anyways. It's going to be behind the mirror, and I have it set up to where the mirror still fits in its channel. So when I go to set it, I'll just set it over here and just kind of slide it over to it and still put my clips on top. But when I paint, I just use everyday latex house paint, nothing special. Put it in a little cup, mix it with a little bit of water, and I stick it in one of these cheap Harbor Freight spray guns. They work really good for this kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get the inside painted gray, and then once that's dry, then I can go ahead and put the candle holders in. Alright, I got the gray paint on. The next step will be, after this is dry, I will come in here with some black, and I will lightly mist some black around the edges to kind of highlight, the plaques. I'll paint the upper stuff black so they don't stand out so much, when the light's in there. And then after I get the candle holders on, I see how tall my candles are, then I'll kind of make like a light mist of black to kind of look like the soot that kind of, builds up on the wall next to, where our candle's at. So once this is dry, then I'll start the next step. Alright, got the painting portion done. You see I got the whole thing painted gray. I added a little bit of a kind of an off-white to the plaques and then put a little bit of black over them just to kind of make those stand out a little more. Plus also keep that kind of that stone look to it. Got my soot, trails for the candles. Obviously I went a little lower than the candle because obviously if say the candle were to burn down, you would still get it from there. I got the mirror on the back side, so all I gotta do is make the front piece, and then this prop will be just about ready to go. Okay, I'm getting ready to put the window tint on the my Lexan. Now, for anybody that's never done window tint, it's not really super hard. You just gotta be a little careful because you want to make sure that your area is pretty clean. Because on the window tint, you have your tint and you have like the protective backing that you have to pull off. When you pull that off, it creates like a static that just draws dust right to it. So what you want to do is, as you pull that piece off, you want to spray it with a soapy solution. And that's what kind of helps, one, from it sticking to itself, two, helps stuff from getting stuck into it. Plus, you want to make sure the surface you're getting ready to put it on is also covered in a soapy solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and peel the back off. I'm going to spray it really good. Then I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to spray this really good. And then I'm just going to use the squeegee to squeegee it out. I know they have proper tools for it, but if I was tinting a car or something like that, obviously I would use the proper stuff. But for what I'm building, this is going to be more than adequate. It'll still do the job just fine. Alright, that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, the stuff I picked up, I couldn't find in the actual, like Home Depot, like the mirror they're out. This was the next one closest to it, but as long as I have some kind of reflective surface, I'm still going to get the look I need. So, hopefully this looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and get it put on and we'll take a look. Alright, I went ahead and let it dry overnight. I did that because with the Lexan being a lot more flexible than glass, it's not as rigid. I didn't want to bend it and it popped the tint off and crinkled it or anything like that. So I went ahead and let it dry. Now, remember that old-fashioned saying, measure twice, cut once? I goofed up. I thought I cut this thing 62 inches. I ended up cutting it only 60 inches. Now, it would still fit because, I have 60 inches here, but I'd only be able to put screws in the sides, and I want screws all the way around. So what I ended up having to do is put an extra piece of wood up here. So I put this up here. I'm not worried about painting this because you're not really going to see it. I painted the bottom and then the back side because that's what you'll see. You'll see that in the reflection, from the other mirror. Now I put it on the top. The reason I did it on the top is because the bottom, because you have the bottom here. If I put it on the bottom, you'll see a stair step and it's going to ruin that sight line. Not to mention also, when you're building something like this for like a yard haunt and you have a lot of smaller kids, I think they're going to be down here at this level looking kind of up like this. You're not really going to notice that piece standing out as much as you would this piece down here at the bottom. So I just went ahead and put that on there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start getting this installed on the box, and then we will see how it looks. All right, I got it all done. I went ahead and I got that Lexan screwed to the face of it. All I just did is ran a set of screws around the perimeter. I got the back mirror put in. I got the 4 candles in. I got the 4 candles turned on, and I also have my extra green light that I use just as a little extra illumination inside there, just so it kind of helps you see what the prop is a little bit more. I'm going to turn the lights off and show you what it looks like with just the candles first, just so you can see how it looks without any extra light, and then what it looks like with a little extra light. The one way kind of makes it harder to tell what the prop really is, and then the other one just kind of gives you that little bit extra. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the lights out so you can see what it looks like. As you can see, right now it's just the illusion of a long, hallway of candles. Now there is enough light with those candles, where you can see, the stuff on the wall. You can sort of see, the bottom, not really actually. To the naked eye, I sort of can, but the camera's not picking it up. But you can see it definitely has that nice, long, drawn out kind of hallway effect to it. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the light. That kind of puts a little bit more extra light in there, which makes it to where you can see more of what the prop is. I mean, this kind of gives you an idea, but the other one's going to actually show you what the prop actually looks like when it's actually semi-illuminated. And here we go with the light on. Now this light is a little intense. I'm probably going to either put a filter on it, or I'm going to find a lower wattage bulb when I actually go to do the full setup, because you do want to see what the prop is, but you still want to have a little bit of the illusion. Right now that light is a little too intense, to the point that if you look carefully enough, you can essentially see the mirror, right here, you can see where the mirror starts to create that transition look. So you want to dampen that down just a little bit. But for now, just for the demonstration purposes for the video, I want to make sure that you can definitely see, the prop, the illusion, how it turned out, how it came out. And the other thing I like is, when you're doing this for say a yard haunt, you got to think you're going to have a lot of younger kids, and they're going to be looking at it from about this height right here. Where we're looking at it from this height, they're going to look at it from roughly around this height or so. So when you look at it, it definitely has a really more powerful impact, especially to a younger kid walking past this thing. It's just, they're going to look at this thinking, how deep is that hallway? How far does it go? It's like a large, structure that they're going to be walking past, and, it's going to be something that's really going to fascinate them. So, I mean, something like that is what kind of makes it worth, building things like this right here. But overall, I think it came out pretty good. I like the way it came out. I actually like the way it came out better than the first one. I like the candle holder design I did differently for this one. So all in all, I'm pretty stoked about using this one for my 23 display. But if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, leave me a comment, tell me what you think. And as always, thanks for watching.